This tier list was made by players from 500 to 640 deficit. This is our tier list for players who wish to push past 500 deficit in normal adventure. We will cap the deficit at 600 because most players will not be playing. At over 600, Alice is also currently required for infinite deficit and no longer acquirable, further limiting the population. As a disclaimer, these are our opinions. After receiving help and suggestions from a handful of others, your climb will look differently based on the characters you own and the archive you have. We also greatly value flexibility and are using a full accuracy and swiftness triessence as base, no resistances and almost no EVA, to ensure that all players can climb with this tier list. With the disclaimers out of the way, let's get into the tier list. In a regular tier, we have the 3 best DPS, Eden, Guston, and Traumeré. Eden is extremely flexible due to his percent HP damage, stuns, projectile barrier, and energy regen. There are no units that can fully counter him. Guston is the best 1v5 unit. With only a little bit of stall and energy regen, he can beat basically any team. He struggles against certain units like Dats, Yorick, and Garum, but can still beat them with the right teams. Traumeré provides many free wins against units that have tame, wide shields or attack buffs, such as Yorick or Edindon. He will struggle as a solo DPS against teams that don't meet these conditions, but still has nice CC, and can be paired nicely with another DPS. Most higher floors will have one enemy team that meets these conditions anyways. Lastly, Iowa is not a DPS, but she is just too good of a support. She provides invulnerability, CC, buff removal, debuff removal, and even tanks for a bit. When paired with Tank Knock, your team is basically unkillable while constantly knocking down enemies. Her special move can often be used to interrupt enemy special moves, such as Evans. In SSS tier, we have Hugo. Hugo is a 1v5 machine. When paired with Albelda, Euron, and a defense shredder, she melts enemies. Her DPS starts falling off after 500 deficit, but will remain valuable as an infinite stall tank that blocks buffs. Albelda is not a DPS, but is similar to Hugo in that she enables many DPS when at 500 to 600 deficit. Such as Hugo and Revolution Bomb, she also provides survivability and active skill cooldowns that can be used for DPS, support, and tank units. Yasurochu is a percent HP damage unit, so his damage will never fall off. He is extremely useful in removing an annoying unit at the start of battle by charming them and ulting twice. However, he requires grouping or a unit to pull backline units sometimes, because his charm will not always pull. He also targets the nearest enemy even if it's not the lacerated target. He is also one of the few units that can still run resistances at 500 deficit because he has a 50% damage reduction and a shield that scales with enemy max HP. Alice is the final percent HP DPS unit on this list. She excels at removing a backline unit within the first 10 seconds of the battle when running an idea set, such as Garum. She requires energy regen in her team so she can continuously ult. She should be run with 100% crit rate and 170% crit rate at crit reduction. Debuff flaws because her percent HP damage only procs on crits. In SS tier, we have Heljo. Heljo has insane damage and can even DPS somewhat at 600 deficit without Albelda. He often makes use of units that aren't commonly run in other teams such as Canoguero. Heljo has survivability issues, and his DPS eventually falls off as you push past 600 deficit. Revolution Bomb is amazing as both a DPS and a support. He has great defense shred, CC, swiftness decrease, slight grouping, survivability and damage. With Albelda, he can consistently clear at 500 deficit. We haven't fully tested how he performs at 600 deficit, but paired with Down, we think he could consistently clear at 600. Evan provides team-wide immortality, which is essential when pushing deficit because resistances are almost useless, and only whales have enough EVA to actually matter. Your units should all get one shot if they take damage, and so you rely on invulnerability, immortality, capped damage taken, Hyogo's special shields, or permanently stunning the enemies. Evan immortality can be overlapped with bomb. However, we find that we often require Bomb plus David or even TOGNW for Evan to successfully overlap ults because his AI loves casting his useless active skills, preventing him from ulting. If his ults overlapped consistently, we would have placed him higher. Refleo is one of the best tanks in the game due to his percent HP damage taken cap after ulting. Once he ults, he is basically unkillable unless he gets stunned, and isn't able to consistently cast his ult. He also knocks enemies down, often an auto including permanent CC comps. When paired with Honor, he can knock down all 5 enemies for the entirety of the battle. TOGNW is essential to optimize certain units, such as AWA. She provides a ton of energy to your highest attack unit, ensuring that they are constantly ulting. She is easily stunned sometimes, and often dies early on when Evan or AWA is not on the team. She also works great with Yusrocha and Alice to permanently ult, or get an early kill quickly. Yurong is likely the best grouper in the game. She groups units no matter where they are on the map while stunning them. Once she ults once, she can likely constantly ult and keep the enemies permanently stunned with the help of another unit like Revolution Bomb or Refleo. Yurong is nice paired with Yusrocha or Edhan to solve Yas's grouping issues or increase Edhan's energy regen. Garam has too many things in her kit. Her stun is vital to infinite stun comps, and she boosts non% HP DPS another 50 deficit or so. Extremely versatile unit that can be included in any team while remaining useful. In S tier, we have Down. She can actually somewhat DPS past 600 deficit when given a life support comp like Refleo, Garam, Revolution Bomb. Lero Rogue, however, she struggles against annoying units like Dats, Garam, AWA, and White. As a new player, she can easily climb the tower for you up to floor 101 with low team investment, but she will eventually fall off as you climb deficit or floors. Bomb is an amazing battery unit that provides team-wide energy and even more energy to the highest attack unit. Hockney also provides energy to the highest attack unit. He also increases their attack, crit rate, and crit damage. However, we find that he mostly excels with his evasion buff on the ult and passive. Even if you don't build either, the 50% increase will still help you dodge some attacks and skills. It can help bridge the gap between inconsistent Evan ults or even just tank a little bit for your Eden to kill some more units and finish the fight. He also helps in permanent stun comps, where some enemy units can occasionally get an AoE cast off, one-shotting your backline. Yuraho excels with her energy block on ult. She can be paired with Bomb or David to instantly ult, delaying an enemy Dats ult for example. She has a Resurrect that could be useful to improve the consistency of a comp, but I haven't found it to be that great. Her attack buffs can also be helpful for Heljo or White at earlier deficits. Anna is a great grouping unit. Her bunny drags enemy units to the back, which allow Refleo to run up and start hitting all 5 units. The slight delay the bunny adds also helps Refleo or Monok survive when enemies can kill them through Bari at the start of the fight. Icekin has insane utility. He has HP block, energy decrease, and swiftness decrease. He has survivability issues, so will need to be paired with infinite stun comp, Evan or AWA. In a tier, we have LS, Mosh. She does decent damage and can carry up to 500 deficit with some serious help. Other people think she can carry beyond that, but we are not fully convinced. White can carry well up to 430 deficit or so. After that, he also needs serious help and can maybe be boosted to 500 deficit with a life support team. Once his deficit falls off, he's a budget grouping unit. Data Machine is great for stalling the first 15 to 20 seconds of the battle. She requires 0 investment and can often stall long enough for your team to get going and win. David is a slightly worse bomb in terms of energy regen, but also increases the damage of your DPS. He is nice with Heljo if Heljo doesn't run out of range, and he solidly does not boost Down's damage enough past 500 deficit. Murray is a nice battery unit for Eden or Gustong. She's not that necessary, but nice to have, especially if your Gustong is running Bari instead of Idea. Lero Ru and Kan are both nice for their stun, defense decrease, and attack buff. Kan's suitcase can either help or troll you. Ijin is a nice tank that has single target HP recovery block, CC, and energy decrease. he can still stay alive well with his guaranteed dodges and EV increase. Spear Anok has another greater HP recovery block. She also decreases swiftness and is much easier to keep alive than Icecon, but doesn't have as much or as effective utility as Icecon. Kosono can pull the farthest unit and CCS them with swiftness decreases, stuns, knock-ups, energy blocks, and energy decreases, preventing enemy ults. He also provides 50% def shred, which is okay. He excels with Yurong because Kosono can block all enemies' energy recovery with his ult and CC them for 3 seconds each time. The text here is for units that have impactful uses but are not used at every multi-stitch, or mostly serve one purpose. They aren't technically below a tier, but just have niche uses. For example, Missing is great for delaying one enemy at the start of the battle by stunning them and stealing their energy. She is often used against DATs or Yurong. The rare text tier is like the text tier, but the units are used rarely due to having better alternatives or much more niche scenarios. The next tier contains units we've basically never used and consider irrelevant. There are probably some uses for them that we aren't really sure about, but there just seems to be better units to fill out the teams in higher tiers. Kusaya, for example, has a shield break, but it's not very easy to use, and there are better teams or units to counter enemies with high shields. Thank you all for watching this video. Keep in mind that these are just our opinions. You could prove us wrong and show that Hoyuri is actually a regular tier. Come to the Sovereign Discord if you would like more information, and we can give you our thoughts if we are not too busy. Many units are locked behind certain team compositions or key synergies that would require a much longer video.